Hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming a little early so we could connect a little bit. So for the people who are watching, they just finished the panel with the admissions directors from your schools. So now we're going to get a chance to talk to Shiroz, Colby, Amit, and Dennis about student and alumni perspectives. A little sort of behind the scenes, what it's really like, and what I know that our readers are they're in a spot probably like you were at one point, and they're trying to decide between full-time MBA, part-time MBA, online MBA, and then there's the school selection process. So we think you're best suited to help just share your experience with them. Appreciate your time today. I know most of you are at work and also oddly in Texas. But so thank you for taking this 45 minutes today to talk to us. So first of all, can we just go around, starting with Shiroz, and just introduce yourself and tell us where you're at school, your current role, and something fun. So fun fact about yourself that we can all know.
Thank you, Heather. Howdy, everyone. My name is Shiroz Khan. Born and raised in Lee City, Texas. Currently at Rice, doing my online MBA. It's been a great experience, to say the least, in so many different ways. I currently have a background in petroleum engineering from Texas A&M, and graduated May of 18. I've traveled the whole world regarding that, and now I switched over to Rice, and I had the chance to use the career panel to help out and pivot my career into construction. And now I currently work at Perry Homes as a construction manager, and it's honestly been a blast, and I can't wait to see where I get to go with Perry Homes and Rice. Thank you. And one fun fact about me, I guess you could say, is out of the 50 states in the United States, I've gone to about 40 driving with my family ever since I was a little young boy.
Wow. Do they like to drive, or is someone afraid to fly?
Everyone loves to drive. There's like 15, 20 of us that get together and drive as a family all around town once a year, just to go somewhere new.
All right, thanks, Shiroz. Colby, how about you?
Yes, so my background, I did undergrad for mechanical engineering, and then went straight into oil and gas, working for ExxonMobil. And during that time, I decided I wanted to pursue my MBA, and so I went and applied to Kelley, Indiana University, the Kelley MBA, and got in. And it was definitely the best decision I've made. So graduated in 2019, and from being in the program have had multiple roles, but currently a marine analyst, so working within the shipping industry, which was brand new but very fun. Fun fact, I actually just ran a marathon for the first time, so that was something I've always wanted to do and just did, so it was really fun.
Fantastic. I love that question because, what I've noticed too about talking with you all in all our other events is that MBAs or MBA types, you always have some kind of exceptional special interest or hobby or activity. It's really fun to get to know. So thank you. Very good job. Dennis, tell us about yourself.
Yes, Dennis, I'm currently at Michigan Ross. I'm finishing up my second year in the Online MBA program. I also live in Houston, Texas. So number 3 here with my wife. We have twins that just turned 3, and we're expecting our third baby here in the next week or so. I did my undergrad in finance at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, got my CPA in 2015, and have been in energy at Phillips 66 since I graduated, doing a number of different roles, mostly within the marketing organization. Right now working in finance with our West Coast business, so that's a lot of fun. A fun fact about me, I absolutely love movies. I love to watch movies. I'm fascinated by reading into like the storylines and the narratives and kind of the subliminal messaging, messaging behind them. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied there. But I just love storytelling. I think it's so interesting. So I'm drawn to movies and books.
Can you give us one of your top five favorites?
Oh my gosh. I was actually, I love the Matrix series, all 4 of them. So if I could lump those into one, I just think it's such a fascinating combination of, different ideological components and, kind of the tech kind of futuristic sci-fi type deal. So I love it.
All right, so we've got the cross-country driver, the marathon runner, and the movie guy. Amit, tell us about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone, and welcome everyone to this online session at Poets and Cons. I'm Amit Sharma. I graduated from IE Executive Program in 2018. I'm currently with Edgebo. It's a product firm based out of India. I'm into I'm a senior product manager in a product that's into robotics, process automation, and AI. Right. I have an overall experience of close to 16 years in technology space, graduated in engineering and went on and did my executive program at IE from Madrid. And the fun fact about me is, and with the program was I would fly in every other week to Madrid to attend a 48 hours session or in other words, you could say a 2-day session, and would spend close to 15 or 20 odd hours to travel and return back to India. Since it was all based out of Madrid, and I was living and working out of India. So it was a great experience, a great travel experience, great knowledge experience. And I guess I've now developed a hobby of traveling and spending a lot more time over the flight. So yeah,
That's great.
that's about me. Yeah.
I know IE is a beautiful school, and Madrid is definitely on my travel bucket list.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, great. Well, so now from your introductions, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, just raise your hand, but it seems like you all stayed in the same industry, more or less. Yeah, so no industry switchers in the group. Shiroz, is that true for you?
No, I actually switched from engineering and I went to construction. I'm on the corporate track now.
Okay. So, and that was a deliberate shift from pre-MBA or not, I know
Yes, ma'am.
you're still there.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, school helped out with that.
So did you actually shift your career during your program or shift your industry?
Yeah. So after my first semester, I knew that after all the downturns I saw, and I knew that I always wanted to see the business aspect of any business as something I had pertained to and I loved in the industry, and walking into our corporate meetings. And one thing that got me, I guess, kind of pursuing my MBA was the lingo, like not understanding that and seeing these executives in our company having these MBAs, and just kind of inspired me in that fact that I want to be one to make these positive impacts for a whole company one day for this industry. So from that, I got into Rice. It's a blessing. And then after my first semester, I asked for a career pivot, and I worked with our career admissions, and literally in a matter of 2 weeks, I had interviews and I had a job within the next month. And now I'm at Perry Homes and I'm in the corporate track.
That's great. It's funny because there's so many things in there that I want to ask about, the course of the next 45 minutes. So I think maybe that just sums it up and we can just all go back to work. No, but really. So we have one industry switch and careers. So what about, when you were looking to go to pursue an MBA, were you looking for a specific job promotion? So it sounds like, Shiroz, you decided during your program, it's like this sort of development of maybe experience in the program caused you to want to, shift. So that happened during the program, but did anybody go into school thinking, okay, I need to level up in the career, or what was your motivation for pursuing an MBA of any sort? Let's go with Colby.
This is a great question, and I think it is a question that really helps motivate people to go to and get their MBA anyways. So for me, I was doing my job as a project manager, doing environmental cleanup, and all of the presentations I went to and listened to managers, they were asking very large, big picture questions, and I was in such a detailed role that I was like, man, if I understood the big picture a little bit better, then I probably would be a lot better at my job. And so I kept having this thought, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go get my MBA. And to be honest, it's one of those things I realized I had to do because I wanted to. A lot of times people have a lot of their own opinions about MBAs and whether you should go or you'll get that knowledge naturally through work, all of those things. And I was like, you know what, I want it now, and I want to go through and get this knowledge. And so when I did that, I kind of had the intention of I want to better myself, not necessarily going for a promotion or anything, but as a result of knowing things and thinking differently and having a big picture perspective, I got those promotions naturally while I was in the program and then after as well, and just had a lot more opportunity because I had a broader probably knowledge base of not just an engineering degree, but now I had a balance with an MBA as well. So it was one of those that I think it just happens naturally a lot of times once you pursue your MBA.
That's interesting. And plus too, like Rose said, it's the language of business,
Right.
It's really important. So Dennis, did you have a similar experience where you went in, there was sort of like an expansion of interests or knowledge, or that caused you to make a change in your professional or personal life?
Yeah, I think it was very similar. I think one of the things that drew me to an MBA, if I could reference maybe that interest in storytelling and narratives, I think one of the things that you really learn in an MBA program is how to look at the 30,000 foot view and connect all of those dots and think long-term and strategically, beyond the present. There's a lot of value in thinking in the present, right? But being able to connect that to where are we going? What is our vision? What is our mission? How can I, as a business person, make those connections for my people, for my responsibilities? And I think an MBA just does a really good job at helping you synthesize what can be an overwhelming bit of diversity when you start looking at business. You got the strategy side, you got finance, you got marketing, you got all these things that kind of work in tandem to achieve this greater thing. An MBA really helps you take that perspective that like all of this is working together in some type of story, some type of narrative, building on one of the other. So for me, having that extra knowledge is that, hunger to learn that and interest to learn that, knowing people who had got their MBAs and seeing how they thought really intrigued me. So that was a big motivator for me to go back.
That's great. And then did you, when you decided to pursue it, did you have a goal in mind with Phillips, where you were at Phillips when you started?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. So one of the things that I did that I thought was really helpful was just talking with Phillips and looking at them as a partner in this journey, right? Knowing that I was going back to get my MBA and I had certain career aspirations. I love the company. I love the people that I work with. So I went in with that perspective, knowing that an MBA is going to open up doors for me to be able to jump into roles maybe outside of the traditional finance world, maybe more the business world, the strategy world, business development, looking at those different things. So there was certainly a career progression component there. And I wanted them alongside me for that journey.
That's great. So Amit, how about you?
Right. So while I do share some of the factors with Dennis and Colby, right? Once you are into a certain role in an industry for this long, you certainly want to be in a position to be a people person, right? You don't just want to be just the computer guy doing your own other work alone and sitting alone, right? So you want to certainly move to a bigger role. You want to be interacting with senior management. And in my case, I was a little fortunate that people around me were not just postgraduates. They were kind of technically postgraduate. They had done their masters in engineering. They had done their masters in business from some leading schools in US and other countries. So it was very inspiring for me. That's one thing. Second thing was I was certainly looking for a role change, right? Prior to joining this program, I was more into a technical role, right? And was a bit parallelly performing other activities around team management and strategy. But what I was looking for, considering I was with Deutsche Bank, right? And it's an European firm. And with an international experience in Europe, in US, in other countries, I felt the best thing for me right now is to open myself to an international community. And that's where I brought in that exposure with 30 odd representatives from different countries, right? I could experience the cultural difference, the perspective difference. And the interesting aspect is I was the only guy from India in that entire program, right? So it was really interesting. I could hear out from so many folks, so many people from different countries. I could absorb so much of different perspective, people coming from non-technology background. So that gave me a entire 360-degree view of what a person can derive out of an MBA program. And if I look at today, after 2 years down the stream, right, what I see, I've made a lot of it. I've changed a role into product management, senior product management. I'm involved into strategy. I'm working with some leaders in the industry. So a lot I have could derive out of it, and I'm really cherish all the moment I've spent at IE.
Sounds great. I'm gonna want to talk a little bit later too about just this. You're only representative from international school online, and it's a question. We're like, why not? If you're gonna have an online MBA, why not? But I won't put you on the spot just yet.
Sure.
And really quickly, actually, somebody who's watching just wrote in with a question, and I just want to address it in case other people are experiencing it. View settings on Zoom. If you're not familiar, you can change your view settings in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little button that says view. You can look at the gallery view, which is what you want if you want to see everybody, or the speaker view. So upper right corner says view, select gallery or speaker. So hopefully that helps this person. Okay, well, that was really revealing. And it's funny because I added this question, just yesterday, because a lot of people, I think, feel like an online MBA is really for people who they're just kind of focused on a specific career move, and the daytime MBA is really the true transformative experience, but like you said yourself, Colby, you were looking for, it was personal development. And at, Poets and Quants, we really feel like the MBA is the most transformative degree, both personally and professionally. And I get most excited about seeing what happens to you guys as you go through the program, sort of this enlarged version of yourself. And you've all said, maybe bringing in other cultures, communities, opening doors, and really this sort of sense of expansion of your life, not just your network. So I think that's really cool. And I think it's really great that you were able to share that with people who are considering an online MBA, because one thing that we do get a lot is, like I said, the people who aren't sure about part-time or evening and weekend or the full-time program. It's a big investment of time and money to go to the full-time program. So what led you, or how did you ultimately decide online MBA? Was it financial, family, location, regional? What was your reason for choosing online? And did you consider daytime programs too? Colby, let's start with you. You applied to Kelley. It sounds like maybe you only applied to Kelley.
I did, but I did. It was, once I knew it was a personal development opportunity that I had recognized, I did look at full-time. And then once I saw basically the cost in foregoing my current salary, I was like, I don't know if I even have to go to MBA school to know that might not work for me. And so unfortunately, it just wasn't really a potential for me to forego my current income and then also pay the steep price that comes with a full-time MBA. But once I started switching my outlook and starting doing research on online MBAs, and then luckily looking out and reaching out to other employees that I knew that had done an online MBA, I was immediately sold, purely because of their experience, their connections, the quality of the MBA, especially from all these schools on this call today. I think it really is amazing that the quality, I feel, is almost the same as in person. In person, you normally go if it's really for those maybe connections, but I feel like I've made such good connections through my school and my classmates and everything like that. So I really didn't feel like I missed anything, but it really came down to financials. I loved my job at the time, and being able to stay in the same city and do school at the same time was great.
That's great. Thank you for that. Amit, what about you? Did you consider a full-time MBA?
Yes, that I did consider full-time MBA, but the reason was, of course, I shared the reason with Colby here. The opportunity cost of quitting my job and going for an entire one year or 2 year program was kind of not worth going for a full-time MBA, and hence I was more looking at a blended program. A program that would give me an opportunity to interact with my classmates in person, as well as I keep myself busy within online programs. And at the same time, I kind of extract or derive most out of the program. So it wasn't just the program per se or the certificate. It was more around acquiring the business skills. So for that reason, I preferred a blended program that gave me an opportunity to have a classroom session as well as spend my weekends having teamwork and online sessions. Yeah.
Teamwork in Madrid at that. It's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So, okay, so now you both are alumni and you experienced your online program and your team, your collaborative, in-person events before the coronavirus came around. So then Shiroz and Dennis, you're both about to graduate this year. Did you, first of all, we'll just ask you the same question. Why did you ultimately choose Online MBA? Was it similar reasons? And then how has been your experience with in-person connections on campus or off campus, but whatever. Shiroz, let's go.
To me, add on the Colby and Amit, that was one of the main reasons. But I think, to me, experience, since I'm so young in the industry itself, that I only had 2 years experience, and I was like, I want to keep developing my experience, because a lot of my MBA classes, that you guys can attest to this, is it's all case-based, case analysis, teamwork, and they throw certain situations at you, and you can actually use those situations to help you in your current role and pitch those ideas in your current company. And I had the opportunity to do that in executive meetings, corporate meetings, and I haven't even finished my first year yet. And that to me was just like a beautiful feeling. And yeah, I had that little concern, like, will I be able to build that connection and network? And in our panels, I actually had to attend one of these panels where, when I was applying to MBA schools, and I got to talk to online MBAs and about their network and connections. And they said it's almost exactly the same. And regarding my experience, we've connected with so many people in my class itself. Some are in Oklahoma, some in Colorado, some in Houston. What we try and do every 3 months is get together in one spot and meet and just get together. And also on top of that, these Zoom meetings just like this helps you build that network and that experience you want in an MBA. And honestly, I love the decision of an online MBA because I can further my career at once and get the education all at once and apply everything simultaneously.
That's great. That was actually one of my questions too, is if for the current students, if you were able to really immediately apply lessons that you were learning from school at work, which has got to be amazing. I imagine that somewhere out there's a full-time, daytime Rice MBA just shaking his head going, no, it's not like the same thing, man. But you'll never know. So it sounds like it's been a good experience for you. But Dennis, similar for you. I mean, it sounds like you've got a big family. You wanted to stay probably near home. But wait, where's home? Well, home's in Texas.
Yes.
So, why did you choose Online MBA?
Yes. Finances were certainly a part of it. Like I said, cost benefit was there. It was hard for me where I'm at in life to justify leaving my job. Bigger for me was the location. We put roots in Houston. It's not a place we want to leave. So it was important for us to stay in our community, to stay with our support network we've been building. That meant a lot to my family. And then the other thing I would say was probably the biggest driver for me was the flexibility. And I looked at full-time and part-time programs, ruled out full-time fairly quickly just because of that, having to leave work. But part-time programs, even where I landed, was that, in a city like Houston, if I'm looking at a part-time in-person program, I'm looking at Rice, I'm looking at Texas, I'm looking at Texas A&M, some of those evening weekend type programs, all fantastic programs, still require a lot of time away. And I can vividly remember my twins are probably, under the age of 1 when I started this program. I was sitting there rocking my daughter one night, and I just looked down at her, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that I didn't want to miss that time. I didn't want to have to sacrifice that time away from my family. So very quickly, I looked for maximum flexibility, but also for a program that would give me the tools and the skills that I wanted out of an MBA program. So for me, flexibility was probably the biggest one. I didn't want to give up that time with my family. I just didn't want to make the sacrifice. That was more important to me. But sure, all of the other things there, the finances, the location, were some of the biggest drivers.
Okay. Well, and we were kind of joking before we went live here that you're going to be So, you're rocking your 1-year-old, and this is pre the decision to choose Ross, Online MBA. How was it when you started to, be a father and a worker and a student at the same time?
Yes. I would first say it's very doable. I would say that it is also a bit intimidating, and it does require a lot of thought and a lot of commitment, right? So one of the things that I did that I found very useful, and I try to share with other prospective students, is that take time to assess really what your priorities are in life. For me, it's faith, family, work, and then right now in the season at school. Those are my priorities, and those are the non-negotiables. And what I do is I'm ruthless with my time and how I plan my schedule, how I plan my commitments to prioritize those things. And what I found is if I'm prioritizing the way that I should be prioritizing according to what I value in life, I'm a lot happier. I'm a lot more committed. I'm a lot more present in the moments that I need to be present in because I've planned that way. And I don't want to sound like I'm just this crazy discipline planner, because that's actually very much against my nature. I'm the guy who's like, my special type of organization is chaos on my desk. So it took a lot of work for me to get disciplined, but it was so important in making sure that I was getting the most out of everything that I was pursuing, that I was happy, that the people in my life were happy. They felt like I was present. So all of those things in balancing work and life and school, you got to be ruthless with your time. You have to take time to prioritize what's important so that you know what you're working toward, so that you can invest these same, if you do that, it energizes you, and it's easy to put energy into those things that you're passionate about. So by far that's been the biggest thing in terms of balancing everything, is just making sure that I know what my priorities are, I know what I value, and I know what I'm working toward, and then I can start slotting those things in as I need to.
Yeah, almost like having to take a little life inventory.
Yes, exactly, which is healthy.
Yeah, remove unnecessary items. It reminds me of our first pre-MBA networking event. We had this representative from JP Morgan who said, you can't have everything, but you can have one thing, and so maybe for us, maybe we can have three things, maybe we can have school and work and family and be okay. But it's, really about prioritizing. And I don't know if, I feel like these lessons that maybe hopefully it's something that you'll carry through the rest of your life, and then some of us watching this will apply that. I have to do that myself. I'm a pretty busy mom too, so thank you for that. And then what about how many hours you spent a week? Did you sleep?
Some weeks were busier than others, I'll say that. Some of the more quantitatively rigorous classes kept me up later, and some of the writing. But I think one of the beautiful things about an online MBA program is that you do get that flexibility. And I don't know the specifics of some of the other programs, but Ross, you get longer than the 2.5, 3 years to kind of complete that program, right? So I can slot my courses according to different seasons in my life. So right now I knew I would be expecting another baby, so I have a pretty light summer. I'm not doing a whole lot. So I can balance to where I can say, I want to spend roughly 15 to 20 hours a week on coursework this term, so I need to take about this many classes. So it makes it easy to do that with that flexibility in the program.
And then you'll still graduate this year in 2022.
2022, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But you can push it back if you need to.
Yes.
And what about you, Shiroz? How is it? I mean, you're working. You guys are all at work right now, fitting this in on top of everything else, on top of school. How has it been for you?
It was a big change, to say the least. I also got engaged throughout the process and planning a wedding as well, like Colby. Not as soon, but getting through that. And honestly, what, like Dennis said, when our pre-MBA meetings, like you said, was you can't have everything, but know what you're working for is what keeps you going through it. And I would say I thought I was a good time manager before I started my MBA, but something an MBA does teach you is time management skills. Like I would consider myself to be a expert time manager based on priorities and scheduling and slotting everything in just so you can fit everything in. My mom, my dad, and my wife always says, shows you try and squeeze too much in one day, like you drain yourself out. But the thing is, I know what I'm working for, and they understand that too. But they see that sometimes you got to tell yourself you need to slow down to speed up. It's something I kind of use at work and on my MBA, and it's something that's very doable, like Dennis said, but it's something you got to be very committed towards and just constantly keep reminding yourself that this is what I'm working for, this is the goal, and know that you're not alone. Everyone's here with you, and your professors, your teachers, they're going to work with you. You tell them what's going on with work. Or I have some professors, I've told them I have a big corporate meeting this week. Can I like delay my homework by 2 days? They're like, yeah, no worries, sure, just we'll help you out. We'll take care of that. Take care of your meeting. Just that flexibility is there, like Dennis, and planning your schedule every week, because not every week's the same. Every day is different. We all can attest to that. So the online MBA field allows you to do that. And from that sheer will and dedication gets you through it. And it's been a blessing. Like, I love what I do, and I'm really happy to be here.
That's great. And how many hours a week do you spend, working?
I like to break it up throughout the week. So I'd say about 15, 20 hours, but like after work, just hit on the weekdays at 2 hours a night, and Saturday and Sunday, like hit about just 8 to noon. So about like 15 to 20 maximum, I'd say. During finals week, maybe it's 30, but it's very doable. Just got to be very good at time planning and time management is what I'd say.
Right.
Which you learn with time, of course, as well.
Yeah, good. Great. And then so Colby and Amit, you're done with your programs, and you survived. So you've had your jobs, you're engaged, or you've done lots of traveling. Do you have anything else to add to the work-life balance question? Amit,
Are you gonna go first? Okay, fine. Sure. Right. So the first day I arrived at Madrid at school, right? We were told that you could take away 2S from 3S, what you would deliver at school, right? The first one was sleep, the second one was socialize, the third one was the school, right? So most of us selected that it is going to be socialize and school, right? So we kind of decided that for the next 15 months, we're not going to spend time at sleeping. That's something we had done a lot. So yeah, that was pretty clear right from the beginning. And secondly, yes, I totally go by what Sharon said that, right? The moment you join this program, right, yeah, you are totally backed by your family, your professors, your colleagues, your classmates, and so are your work friends, right? They are all aware of that the person is spending a lot of time and effort putting himself into this program, and he's certainly going to contribute to the work. And eventually, when you spend into these classes, right, be it few months or 6 months down to the line, people start noticing that what change the person is bringing into the work. That's when they kind of become a lot more accommodative. And same as other schools, even IE supported us with the subjects, right? So whether we needed an extended time, and moreover, the program was designed in such a way that it was a team-based program. So we had team assignment, we had individual assignments. That's when a team member would step in, seeing that if other person is getting stretched, and vis-a-vis, right? So that's how we kind of managed it. But yes, anyone who is entering into this program, he needs to prioritize it really well. He needs to spend the next 15 months or 24 months with a clear thought process that how he's going to make most out of the program, and what are his priorities. So yeah, I totally go by that statement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's funny. And you all decided to give up sleep, but sometimes it's only for what, 15 months, a couple of years. We can
Only for 15 months, yeah.
I'm the same way, and I say that I'll rest when they cut me on the forehead with a shovel. Kind of morbid. Colby, anything else?
I think you all summed it up perfectly. I think it's just to be forgiving for yourself during those times while you're doing your MBA, right? Like, everything's not going to be perfect. So it's just, you got to be able to go with the flow a little bit, and know that some days are going to be really good and you have it all together, and some days you won't have it all together and you'll be struggling to get by, but it's all worth it in the end. And then I think it also just teaches you so many just personal skills that are so helpful, like asking for help, teamwork, and all these communication skill sets that you hope to either display as an employee or display as a manager one day. And so it's really lovely that sometimes these stressful situations actually prep you the most for where you want to go and what you want to be in the future. So.
Well, thank you. So, it's well, okay, it's my time, it's 7:36. That means we have 9 minutes left and we have to stay on schedule for people so they can have breaks. So that means I only have a time for one or two more questions. And my last question, I'm going to put Amit on the spot. Um,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Um, so really, we talk so much with the schools and what's it take to get in and what's it like to be there. And we get the pitch from the schools and we love that and we kind of know what we're getting. But um, what's it like to be there, to be part of that community? Like, could you just tell me about maybe one or two experiences that were, highlights of, well, so far for Shiroz and Dennis, and for you too, highlights of your time there, and what is your how would you describe your classmates in general? So two questions. I'm trying to squeeze two into one. So Colby, let's start with you.
All right, so we have something that normally kicks off the school year. So as you begin your first year and your second year, you go to something called Kelley Connect Week. So they actually bring everyone in your cohort together and you basically do a full week intensive exercise, case training classes. You meet professors, you meet with everyone. And those are absolutely the highlights of my time at my MBA. It just set you up so well to be energized going into the MBA, get you a second energy boost going into your second year, but then also just making those friendships and those connections immediately. So that way you recognize people and you just had that connection that you're going through something that's really hard, but you're doing it together, was really helpful. So those were definitely my highlights. And then also just the teachers and professors are phenomenal. I think everyone here probably recognizes that the professors are top notch and they are so understanding. You're able to really learn a lot, but also ask if things could move or change, and they're willing to help a lot too. So then to say what describes my classmates, I would say they're probably some of the most motivating and inspiring individuals I've ever been around. And I would say that I've been around some very motivating, inspiring individuals at work, but just something about wanting to improve yourself and make yourself better and be surrounded by those people, and just diverse thinking, diverse backgrounds, everything like that were absolutely incredible. And I think if I ever started a company, I would 100% hire everyone on the classmate list. I think it would be awesome. So I was very, very happy. Couldn't have asked for a better time, and I think it's definitely worth it.
Great. Thank you. Dennis, you're new-ish, but so far, anything, any highlights to share and any sense of who your classmates are?
Yeah, so to echo some of what Colby said, one of the nice elements of online MBA programs is that a lot of them do feature an in-person type of thing. And honestly, it feels like a big class reunion, like you've been in class with these people some, and then you get together and it's just there's so much depth and richness that's added to that relationship, seeing them in person, even for a week. And then it just helps you build those relationships as you progress through the program. So just the people that you get to meet, the professors you get to meet, the experience you get to learn from and to glean from. I mean, some of the folks that come through online MBA programs, we've got doctors and lawyers and nonprofit leaders, people in energy, people in auto, tech, whatever it is, they're across industries, across the globes. And I think that's true probably of a lot of these programs, is there's just such a richness of experience and diversity and perspective that you learn from your classmates. And it's all kind of real time, right? So we've got we use Slack as one of our primary communication tools, and I love it. But we have, a parent Slack. So we're on there talking about sharing advice on, hey, what are you doing for this class with your kids? How do you juggle it? We've got, different types of encouraging things, gratitude notes, connection things to help you kind of network and build some of that. So it's the people and the ability to connect with people living life at the same time I am, doing some of the same things that I am. It's such a rich connection. So I mean, to describe them, I'd have to say inspiring. I'm like Colby. I would want to be part of a company with these people. The camaraderie you get, the friendships are truly going to last a lifetime.
That's great. Shiroz, for you, also, you're halfway there, you're midpoint somewhere. It highlights that you can share with us.
The first thing I was told when I entered Rice was, this MBA is going to change who you are and the way you think. It's going to give you a different perspective on how to see things. And I would say literally after almost a year in, it's completely changed how I see every problem. It makes me see different aspects. I used to look at the technical aspects. I wouldn't see the broader picture. And like Colby and Dennis were saying, we have a thing called IOE, just like y'all have, with the week-long experience and a global field experience where we all go international, different country together to handle a situation. And the network and the bond you make, and it's just insanely, like, I can't say in words, like the friendships I've made with these people. It's like I've known them for a lifetime. And like the things you learn from them, like I work with doctors, I work with engineers, I work with investors, I work with people who trade derivatives and stocks all day. They're actually helping me. We're actually making partners and plans and investing on the side together, learning from each other, from our strengths and our weaknesses, and helping each other grow, which I think is the most important part of an MBA, is the network and the people you meet. Of course, education is important as well, but the things you use education for and how you use it is the most important part to me. And that's what I'm going to focus on since the beginning, is just reaching out and trying to know everyone and build a personal connection with everyone I'm sitting in class with. And that's been kind of the highlight with me at the university, is just the small class sizes and professors always there to help out, and the students, and knowing everyone on a first name basis, and not calling them a colleague, but calling them a friend. Yeah. And that's what I've really enjoyed at school. That's
great. Gosh, sounds fantastic. I want to go to all these schools now. I always tell John I'm going to leave and go get my MBA. Okay, Amit. All right, we have 2 minutes left. You're going to take us home here, and I got to apologize to all of our U.S. schools, which we love, love, love. But this is an online MBA. We have the chance to go abroad. So, Amit, can you tell us why people watching should consider an international MBA online?
Sure. So when it comes to building a career, right, and something which you can derive out of this pandemic is things are going digital, right? So it's your workplace may not be where you live, right? Your organization, your colleagues may not be where you're currently residing. So it's all going to be digital. Your colleagues are all international, right? So what we need to build is empathy. What most important thing we need to build is how do we connect with other people, right? And that's what your international MBA teaches you, right? Today, I'm easily able to connect with anyone from Europe, anyone from US, or any other country, right? I can understand what the culture is all about, how to connect with them, how to work together. So that's exactly the perspective which I wanted from the program, and I've kind of achieved it out of it. So that's I strongly believe, and I strongly kind of recommend that one should go for an international MBA to learn how people look at a same thing differently, right? Just to share a small anecdote. Now imagine how a person from a developed country would look at a $1, and how a person from a developing country would look at a $1 raise, right? So it's absolutely a different perspective altogether. And for that perspective, I believe one should look for an international MBA program.
Wow, that's incredible. And I thank you so much for that. I love doing this. I love meeting you guys. And I don't think that, I think that you really display the schools and what an MBA can do. And it's not just work. It's we've heard words like empathy, togetherness. You're going to hire your whole class if you open a your own business. These are where you're creating experiences and extended families and building bridges across the globe. But really growing as people. And I feel, whatever it is that can bring, your best you to the world is what needs to happen. And I thank you for sharing part of your day and who you are with us and with our readers. And we're going to have to close, but one thing I'll mention, if you feel comfortable, please send Leanne your shipping information or your address, mail to address. We've got some onesies and engagement letters and hoodies to send out. So thank you for your time, and please stay in touch with us.
Thank you so much for your opportunity.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in a little bit.